2, 1, and we're live. ESP Season 2, Episode 4. Brooke Johnson, welcome back.
Hey.
High five. You're in
to
high
see ya.
demand. Good to see you too. And I'm off camera, so I'm going to shuffle back this way a little bit.
Am I
So
am I
get the-
good?
Yeah, I think you should be good. I think it's just me with this angle and this microphone.
Okay, as long as you can see me.
Yeah. No, you're the star of the show. Seriously.
No.
We were joking last time about how people want to see and hear my guests more than they want to see and hear me. And Jordy is so sweet. Jordy said, "You better start liking Eryn, or I will fight you."
Yeah. You're the most likable person I know. Come on.
Oh, so are you.
Oh.
I'm very excited to have you back. Our E3 episode was apparently a big hit. People like it
Oh,
when we just
wow.
talk about games.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
I like coming on the show. It's just nice, and
And you share your
just-
Skittles with me.
I know. I mean, what more can you ask for? Right?
Do you like sour Skittles too?
I don't discriminate when it comes to Skittles.
Yeah, all Skittles.
There's no
So-
wrong Skittle.
No,
you know?
no, there's not. There's not. I had definitely have a Skittle obsession. Although I tried the heat ones and they were not
that's
great.
There's like a jalapeno one or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, they were good and interesting. I like spicy stuff, but not like amazing like I was expecting.
Yeah.
Sour,
More
I think
over the
works
moon
better.
about 'em.
Yeah, sour I think is a better look for candy than,
Yeah.
than the heat thing, the heat craze. Although the Sour Patch Kids heat gummies were awesome.
I didn't even know that. See, I think M&M's just came out with
Oh
a.
yeah, I did see
a
that. I
spicy
did see
one.
like the habanero.
Yeah,
or
that's. I
jalapeno
think that's the one
M&Ms.
I actually saw was the M&M's, but
So speaking of things that are potentially horrifying, how many nightmares have you gotten after seeing the Sonic trailer?
oh my god, it.
How many night
honestly,
terrors have you
okay,
had?
So the trailer itself was bad enough, but have you seen those videos of people being? They're like, "Oh, I fixed the Sonic trailer," and it's just like the worst animation, like of Sonic,
That's
like
amazing. I haven't
gathering
seen that,
rings
but that's
and
really
stuff.
funny.
Oh
you'll
my
have
God.
you'll have to send some to me, and we'll post them on the ESP social media.
Yeah, they're just
Courtesy
so
of Brooke.
silly and ridiculous.
Did you see that oh yeah, that's right. Every time we're on, we always kick each
I know,
other
we're
several
always, like,
times under the table. It's like our thing.
footsies.
Yeah. So did you see that they corrected it though? That
Well, yeah,
or that they're going to correct
They're
it?
going to, yeah.
Okay.
I did see that.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, the fans are essentially what, makes or breaks.
Fans are what matter.
So it's nice that they're listening,
Right, George Lucas? Right, J.J. Abrams?
Come on.
Actually, you know what? We're going to start the conversation with the title of this video, of course. But first, just a little disclaimer, and I was thinking about this on the way in. I like The Last Jedi. I know I'm going to get a lot of downvotes just for saying I like The Last Jedi, but I know why people dislike it. And I know that there were a lot of problems with, like, physics. Like bombs falling in space.
Yeah, I mean, I think those are just things that are supposed to be overlooked,
Yeah, I think what I keep hearing, especially with what we're going to talk about, with the title of this video, is that I have different feelings on that, though. But I think a lot of people in 2019 feel like it's how we're all so interconnected, that it's also our job to, in a world where we can reach out to, the developers and producers of games and cinema and actually, point out stupidity.
Right. I mean, I mean, a lot of directors
When we
nowadays are
can.
on Twitter,
Yeah,
so
everybody is. Everybody's
Right,
on
so, like-
Twitter is the platform right now.
Right. I mean, people can express themselves directly to these people.
Or Instagram if you like to post photos of your butt in swimsuits.
Every now and then, you need a good booty pic.
Oh yeah,
Lift the spirits.
agreed. Yeah, I know, right? To lift
When you're
you
just,
up.
when
with,
just like, oh, I'm feeling myself today. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
how am
get
I
the
going to
angles.
get a confidence boost?
Yeah.
Let's just put a bathing suit picture on Instagram. Although I'm kind of guilty of that. I did that once.
Yeah. There's no
Last
shame
summer.
in that,
Yeah.
Show it off, baby.
Yeah. Thanks. You too. Anyway, right. So Last Jedi, that was we had an episode
Right.
on that we ended up scrapping, but I liked it. I know why. I get and I understand why nobody liked it, but we're not here to talk about The Last Jedi, although it keeps coming up in the conversation. A lot of people keep referencing Last Jedi as, oh, it's the same thing. And what I have been able to see, though, is see The Last Jedi in a more critical light since people have been making the comparisons between Last Jedi and Game of Thrones. So I think what we're really here to talk about is Game of Thrones.
So
Because you're all caught up, right? You saw episode
I'm all
4?
caught up,
Okay.
right? I feel like I like and I don't like.
This
You
is
know,
it. Here we go. Here we go.
Certain
Okay,
things,
yes.
obviously.
I have to collect myself.
Are we okay to talk about it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you didn't watch it, then that's on you.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, of course, right? Oh yeah, spoilers,
Yes.
spoilers incoming. So if you have not, if you have not seen Game of Thrones, season 8, I advise that you don't, if you haven't already seen it yet. But that being said, save yourself the pain. I'm not recommending it. I don't know if you are, but God, it's just awful.
Yeah, it's it doesn't feel. It
But
feels
we are
like
talking spoilers.
It feels like it's a money grabbing kind of
Yeah.
cast.
Yes. Fan service
season. Yeah, like it's just
cash dump.
it doesn't feel
Like
so
Game of Thrones?
cutthroat. Yeah, it's not. It's missing all of those key elements that made Game of Thrones so great over the last few years.
Yes, exactly. That's what every single person that's talking about Game of Thrones is talking about. Did you see? Okay, so season, episode 1 and episode 2. Let's just get those out of the way because this is actually a first 4 episodes recap. So episode 1 and episode 2, I thought were fine.
Yeah, I liked the first 2. I liked the second episode because it was kind of like going over everybody at Winterfell's, relationships with one another, and how Arya kind of met back up with the Hound, and they had their little exchange. I liked that whole thing, but oh man, that battle.
Maybe they should have spent less time with happy reunions and more time actually planning a strategy that wasn't the worst strategy in the history of military television.
Right, and I get I was, just reading things, and
There's
people
so much to read. There's so much legitimate stuff to read on
people
this.
have so many opinions, but people were like, oh well, people are gonna die in the battle, so they're kind of saying goodbye to some people, and in that aspect.
But guess what?
But
nobody died.
Nobody died, right? Like there was no. Obviously, like we lost Theon. That was my biggest
Nobody died that mattered.
He mattered towards the end to me, anyway. I feel like he made up
and
for.
And Bran just
for
watched him die. He's like,
"Well,
you're
okay,
a good man.
That was
Have
the
fun
thing.
dying."
That was the exchange between the Night King and Bran.
Mm-hmm.
He had nothing to say. Does the Night King even talk? Does he just, you know what I mean?
We'll never know because he spent too much time slow walking and a villain.
Staring
and slow walking like the most typical of typical villains with his with the music.
Yeah.
Just like slow walking with the camera. He's like, yeah, make sure you set that camera up so it faces up so we get a more intimidating presence. Okay, and I'm just gonna slow walk towards Bran. Okay, everybody ready? All right? Do I look okay?
Well, the first and only, I guess, part where we saw some sort of personality.
Music was good, though, by the way.
Yeah, the music's always good.
It is.
But the only time that we even saw kind of a personality within the Night King is when Daenerys tries to set him on fire.
Oh, Dracarys,
and he has that little smirk on his face, and that was that. In that moment, I was like,
yeah, that's cool.
Night King's kind of BA, if you will.
Yeah.
Well, we knew that already, but
yeah, no, he's kind of badass.
But yeah, and then he just was so easily taken out. And don't get me wrong, I love Arya.
I liked the Night King. I loved the concept of the zombie apocalypse.
Right. And it just was gone like that. Just done. Bye-bye. It's so funny. I've seen memes, of people just
I had to clear a spot just to bang my head on the table.
It was spends,
worth it.
Spends hundreds of years, building an army for the long night. Dies the first night.
That's a hell of a party. That's one hell of a long night party.
Yeah, and I guess, I get that they just wanted to kind of wrap things up, I suppose, but it was very cookie cutter.
Peeing away all of their money.
Yeah.
Which apparently they may have ran out of.
Yeah, I saw that too, where people, that's that scene where Daenerys and her friends are standing in front.
Yeah, okay, take your Dunkin' Donuts cup and put it right there.
I saw so many of these.
Ready? Take a screenshot. We have now officially just recreated a canon scene in Game of Thrones.
And just simple things like that, they're not caring as much anymore. Mm-hmm. But apparently a couple of seasons ago, there's one scene where Jamie is literally holding a Starbucks cup like this.
Really?
Yeah, and they didn't edit it out, I guess, because you couldn't really see it. But
And he was he like? Was it a scene where he was actually acting, or was it a scene where he was standing around?
he was
Like
in
in the
it,
background.
but I mean, it was like mostly you were focused from here up, and his arms were kind of like crossed in front of
okay.
him. But
I didn't know that. I'll have to look that up.
yeah, I saw like
That's banana sandwich.
a still shot of it or whatever.
That's awesome.
Banana sandwich.
Yeah, which is my new favorite thing to say, by the way.
I like that. It's cute.
Thank you. Yeah. Adorbs.
Just
Toads
what a
adorbs.
banana sandwich. Ugh.
I know. No, that's the best way to describe the last 2 episodes of Game of Thrones. Maybe like a rotten banana sandwich,
Just
though. Ugh,
Bonkers.
it
Yeah.
was so bad, so bad.
I
Where did-
and then the Missandei. you
Oh
know.
yeah.
I'm
just gonna die now.
First of all, how? Like the last we saw, Grey Worm was like, "Get below deck,"
Mhm.
and then the boat just falls apart after being shot up by giant spears.
Oh, you know what? I get Missandei and Melisandre or Melisandre. whatever
It's
her name-
Melisandre, yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I get Missandre and Melisandre confused, but I thought you were talking about Melisandre, who just randomly walked off. I was like, all right, I'm gonna die now. But yeah, Missandei in episode 4. Okay, well, first of all, let's talk about the scorpions and the ballista. I've heard a lot of people say that ballista and scorpions can't damage boats like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that boats are not like made of balsa wood.
Mm-hmm.
And that I
So
think
it's just
that,
not
yeah, that exact thing
plausible.
was said on shout out to our Nerdrotic. That exact thing was said about ships are not made of balsa wood. And Nerdrotic has done some really good reviews.
So
on
what
Game
does
of
that mean?
Thrones.
That it wouldn't
So-
have so easily just...
Yeah, it wouldn't just splinter
fallen
and
apart,
shatter.
yeah.
But yeah, go check out Nerdrotic's page.
I'll
his
have to do
YouTube.
that, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, warships, especially like Daenerys Targaryen warships,
Mhm.
are not going to just like explode and fall apart like that.
Right.
Warships don't do that,
And let's say,
even with the
for this-
cannon fire.
for the sake of this argument, that they could, they're not all just going to wash ashore and be all together, and then suddenly, somehow, Missandei got kidnapped and captured.
So
And the rest of them just didn't see it happen.
somehow,
Like,
somehow,
Yeah, like it didn't make, like, even, people were talking about, like, how did Arya,
yeah, where did she come from?
well, like, yeah, how did she get past all these White Walkers?
It
And then,
looked ridiculous.
yeah, and
to
then
see
in the
her
same sense, how did Missandei get
captured.
kidnapped and captured? So
Well, we're not. I mean, Game of Thrones is clearly defying logic right now.
Well, that's-
Logic and physics.
they're like, and
And
if you've
they just
noticed,
gave
they're
up caring
kind of like fast
completely.
traveling now in certain episodes. Like,
Last season with Daenerys getting from Blackstone, Dragonstone. All right, so I'm sorry, I'm so
Getting all
upset about
shaken
this.
up.
Seriously, I'm really pissed about this. Gendry,
Mhm.
right up north, runs from the middle of the north.
oh, that's
runs,
right,
runs from the middle of the north to Castle Black
right.
without stopping, marathon style.
Mm-hmm.
Sends a raven from Castle Black, or whatever outpost was on the wall that he stopped at.
Mhm.
From, let's just say Castle Black. Sends a raven from Castle Black to King's Landing, which is at the absolute southern end of the continent.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not King's Landing, to Dragonstone, which is basically a few hundred or however many miles south of King's Landing. So
Mhm.
sends a raven from the wall to Dragonstone, and then Daenerys has time to fly all the way back from Dragonstone at the southern tip of the continent to the middle of the north
Right. It just
in
makes,
like what, 2 hours?
it makes no sense. Yeah.
The next episode?
And
Or was
again,
it the
like,
same episode?
I think it's the next episode. Oh, I don't remember. And I get doing things like that for the sake of, the show, but in all these past seasons, the journey was a big part of the show, and going from point A to point B and what happens in between and what happens in that time. And now it's just like, oh, I have to go to this place, and the very next episode they're there.
They're there.
You know,
Like Sir Bronn of the Blackwater.
right, right, yes,
And
exactly.
he's like, all right, I'm leaving.
She's
King's
like, oh,
Landing.
I'm, yeah. And another
And
thing,
then-
like, how does he just get into Winterfell and he's just
Yeah.
in a room with Jaime and Tyrion? He's just like, oh, hey,
Kicks down
sup?
the
I'm
door.
here to kill
Yeah.
you with this crossbow, just walking down the hallway.
Although that scene was kind of funny.
It was funny.
But like,
You won't break my nose.
the-
I didn't break your nose.
I've been breaking noses forever.
Yeah.
I know what it sounds like, and that's not a broken nose.
But yeah, there's definitely some plot holes, lately.
I think there's
but-
more than some girl.
Yeah, but that's not the worst part. It's just I just think that they were very
The weight of this fantasy world should have collapsed with the amount of plot holes that are just kind of strewn about the land. This is like a multiverse collapse situation that we have on our hands.
yeah.
This universe should have like spontaneously imploded like 4 or 5 episodes ago.
What would you have preferred had happened in the battle?
Oh, you first. You first.
I thought for sure Jaime and Brienne were both gonna die.
One of them should have, for sure, since they were surrounded. Brienne was surrounded.
Well, they were on the
like
front
3
lines. Like Grey
times.
Worm, Jaime, and Brienne were all in the front lines when they first got hit by the
Yep.
first wave, and there were so many scenes of Sam and Brienne and Jaime all being
they were
like
literally on their backs screaming,
being like,
"Oh my god, I'm
eaten
gonna
alive."
die!" And then they come out with little tiny bruises.
Like I
at the end of
swear
the
I
next
saw
episode.
Sam die like 4 times,
Yeah.
and then he was just okay at the end. So.
The Lord of Light brought him back to life.
Right, somehow. But yeah, and then that was another thing. Which
Phoenix Down. They all had Phoenix Down potions.
they kind of brushed over it in the latest episode about the Lord of Light, and like who is the Lord of Light? And obviously, he gave Melisandre powers and he resurrected people, obviously for this one night to have happened.
The Lord of Light is a random unnamed developer
And
from
then-
Final
yeah,
Fantasy
and then-
14
yeah.
who's planning on doing a crossover from Eorzea into Westeros, and gave everyone Phoenix Down potions.
But yeah, there's
And
just
fire
like
swords.
it's just like, okay, so that story arc is done. And then a lot of people have been saying about Bran being the 3-eyed raven. They're like, so what's
He was watching Endgame.
his role?
Have you seen that
No,
that meme?
no.
Mhm.
Oh, when he
Yeah, it's like
when he goes,
he's like
I have to go now.
yeah, but the meme is I have to go now, and then the words are BRB watching Endgame.
Just in a movie theater.
Walked into a movie theater. He's like, F this. F
I don't
all these
blame
plot
him.
holes.
Yeah, right.
You know what he was doing? He was trying to seal all the plot holes that were tearing a
Tear
hole in the
show
fabric of
apart.
reality.
Oh goodness. I mean, I'll always like Game of Thrones, but
It's ruined for me.
it's just this last season is like, I'll just remember the
Remember the good times?
the good times. Remember the good times.
How did you feel about all the Dothraki just randomly charging into a suicide charge?
Well, when I first saw
For
the
no reason.
episode, and I was like, that was the dumbest plan that they could have had. But then
Yeah.
people after the episode, people were like, well, you have to remember that's what the Dothraki are known for, is just charging into open field. And
Yeah,
that's just
but-
their tactic, and that's what they do.
That's stupid.
But
and
yeah,
but it's but
especially when
against
Jon
undead,
and Daenerys have both already they know what's coming, and they know that it's just going to be a giant wave of
Yeah,
dead people.
I mean, that's not how you use cavalry.
Yeah.
You save them on a flank. You save them for a center charge, anything,
Right.
anything. But hey, go die.
Right. Hey, just do me a favor and just flush half of our army down the toilet, please.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But apparently, there's still 50% of their forces left. Maybe those were the ones that were kept in reserve.
Yeah. I don't know.
Somehow. Half. I watched you all die. No, it's not half. Put that back. I think you're lying to us, Grey Worm. Oh,
Yeah, just none of it
in
made
any sense?
any sense. Yeah, none of it.
They had an entire battle line. Let's just use the table as reference. So let's just say we're sitting in Winterfell now, right?
Mhm.
As Sansa and Arya. They have their entire like everything's set up out front, right?
Mhm.
And they have basically the whole like front line behind the Dothraki is like massive artillery.
Right.
No, the trebuchets,
Yeah.
and they fired them once.
Yeah.
One time. One time.
And that was it.
Why?
They're like, one time's enough.
They said this is gonna
That's
be
all I
like.
got.
They said this is
Sorry.
gonna be like Helm's Deep. Maybe they should have watched Return of the King, where they, because in Return of the King, they actually use artillery and use it properly.
Mhm.
Unlike Helm's, I don't think there was any or very much artillery in Helm's Deep. But the thing about Helm's Deep is that we could actually see it.
Right. Did you see the director standing his ground with the comments made about, people complaining that it was too dark? He was like, everything I wanted you to see, you could see.
Really?
Yeah. Or everything that you were like meant to see, you could see.
Did you see the article that referenced what one of the I don't know if it was one of the editors or one of the or if it was the main, I don't even know what the guy that does the lighting is called. Is it the gaffer or is that something different?
I don't know, key grip. I don't know. some
I
backstage term.
apologize. I do apologize. I took 2 film classes and I can't remember what the name of the lighting guy is called.
You would know more than me.
The lighting guy, but somebody from Game of Thrones production and development had gone on the record saying, "Oh, well, it's just because people don't know how to adjust their TVs."
Right. Yeah, I saw that too.
Yeah, you saw that one too. Nice.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah, okay.
F you. Dude.
Yeah. But yeah, he was
just ignorant.
like, he was also saying that that's the atmosphere that he wanted for that episode, was that
Total blindness.
You knew death was coming, but you don't know from what direction.
No, but it wasn't.
It's coming from. And I'm like, and I get it. I do get it. But you have to think that if your viewers can't see it, then what's the point? Like, what is the point of anything?
So it turns out that the way to defeat death is through plot armor.
Sounds about right.
If you can craft, right, just like crappy plot armor, right, from like that you get from like a pawn shop, right? Or if you could just but yeah, plot armor is the answer to all of our problems.
Yep,
plot armor and Arya Stark.
Yeah, apparently. Those 2 things, and you're golden.
Yep. All the world's problems are going to be solved by plot armor and Arya Stark. But it's like, I just don't get it. And they said, oh, we're going to subvert your expectations, but by destroying the show? All right, so here's what I thought was going to happen and what I think should have happened. Okay. I'm going to crack my knuckles for this one. All right, so this is how I would have written the show. And please comment, let me know. Again, in the comments below, leave your thoughts on like how you think the battle should have gone. I have enough people where I can like probably give you a proper shout out on Twitter or the next episode or something, but leave a comment. Let me know how you would have done the battle or just your general comments on the battle for Winterfell. But here's what I would have done. Not that anybody cares, but here's what I would have done. You would have had the army of the dead, right, swarm in, and everything up until the end was fine. I thought that, I mean, aside from the battle plan was freaking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't even know if I would have changed the battle plan though, because what I would have done is after I would have been like, well, that's just Daenerys being stupid, and because Daenerys was stupid with her strategy, that they're going to lose this battle, right? They're going to lose Winterfell. Brienne's going to die. Jaime's going to survive. Tyrion's going to get killed in the crypts. The Spider's going to get killed in the crypts. Sansa's going to be wounded in the crypts. She's going to have some sort of a grave wound or a mortal wound or something. They're going to be carrying her. She's going to be pale, and they're going to have to see if they can find a way to save her somehow. Someone had to, I don't know, maybe pick Bran up and put him on their shoulder to get out of there in time. Maybe Jon. Jon has to, and Bran's like, no, my plan's not done. And he's like, F your plan, we're getting out of here. Right? Because everybody's dying. Podrick dies. Tormund dies making a heroic stand. Somehow.
Jorah.
Yeah, or he sees Brienne. Yeah, everyone that already died.
Yeah.
Them too. Tormund sees maybe Brienne fall and he makes a heroic stand. Maybe he's the one that kills the dragon. Sorry, maybe he's the one that kills the giant, or maybe the giant's wounded. Lyanna stabs the dragon in the eye, and maybe Tormund comes to finish him, and or I don't know, something, or maybe he doesn't quite die. I don't know. But I would have had him fall too. Again, Podrick somehow, maybe he makes a charge at the Night King or something, tries to be heroic and dies heroically, valiantly protecting someone else. Sam dies, obviously, because he was screaming, buried underneath White Walkers. He should have died.
And let's be real, like, he got lucky the couple of times that he did make it through battles and stuff. Like, it's not like he's so skilled that he could be a warrior like everybody else, or he is a warrior like everyone else.
Gendry, I don't know. You could probably have Gendry survive. I probably would. Right. So you have all those other people die, right? And then you've got some main characters, and then, all right, everyone's like, shit, we got to get out of here, right? So then they make a tactical retreat, which was mentioned in the previous episode. They had a tactical retreat plan to go to Pike.
Oh, I missed that. I don't recall that happening, but
well, that was the whole. Yara had said, Daenerys is going to have, and then Theon, relayed the message. Obviously, Theon dies again too.
Yeah, right.
But Theon relayed the message that the Iron Isles and Pike are yours to fall back to, right? So everyone would have fallen back. Maybe that's when you have one of the dragons died, protecting the retreat.
Right. Okay.
Right. Not getting or you have the dragon wounded enough, right, that he escapes, and then maybe, I don't know, because you couldn't really have two ice dragons, or maybe you have the ice dragon and the other dragon KO themselves.
Right.
I think that probably would have been,
like have some epic battle between the good dragon and the bad dragon or something.
I think the way you can do that is the dragons were kind of biting each other's necks. I think if you had Rhaegon, if you had Rhaegon, I think his name is Rhaegon, bite the head off the ice dragon. I feel like with the undead, if you take the heads off, they're going to be useless, especially with the dragon, because they can't breathe fire again, even if it's just flopping around or whatever.
Right.
But you would have had Rhaegon bite the head off the ice dragon, right? And then Rhaegon, obviously they don't want another ice dragon, so Daenerys tries to get him out of there, and then maybe he dies of his wounds, or he's out of commission, maybe. Right. Yeah. Okay, but then you do that, but that's when you have, right, the Night King raises everyone that's dead. The Night King captures Winterfell, desecrates the Godswood, burns the tree, right, and then he raises the pale spiders from the ground, right? Because they mentioned that. Remember, they mentioned the pale spiders, right? So he doesn't have dragons anymore, but he takes all the horses, right, from the Dothraki, right? All the Dothraki horses. Now he's got what it was in the story. Because in the stories he didn't have the ice dragon, but in the stories he had cavalry of pale horses and cavalry of undead horses and pale spiders. Yeah. Right. And then he somehow gets the spiders somehow from somewhere, but. And then what you do is then you have the Night King swarm over Westeros. The Night King kills Cersei, right? Because you're not gonna kill the Night King with scorpions and ballistas, right? It's not gonna work. Even if you fire every single one in there, they're just gonna, climb over your gates, kill all the civilians, usher in the long winter, and the survivors flee to Pike, to the Iron Islands, right? Because they hear Daenerys is there, accepting refugees, right? There's an assassin in there somewhere. One of them tries to kill Daenerys. Whether or not they succeed, whatever. But you have something with that, maybe. But you have the Night King kill Cersei, right? And then desecrate the Iron. And then the Night King maybe sits on the Iron Throne or something, or just topples it, or just freezes it.
I don't know if I would have liked the Night King killing Cersei, just because she's hurt so many of our beloved main characters that I feel like there's some justice that needs to be served. But I would have loved, like, if, like you said, they
that's like the
started,
long winter.
Well, they started, swarming across Westeros, and let's say they did make it over to King's Landing, and Cersei's people were like, we got to retreat. You got to get out of King's Landing. We're all going to die. So she flees, and then we have a scene where, like, the Night King sits on the throne. That would have been cool to just see that moment where he's like,
and then Cersei has to come to
realize
Daenerys for help.
Yep.
At the end, or something like that.
After going against her word to help her.
Or and then, but there was supposed to be a zombie apocalypse, right? And people were supposed to die.
Yeah.
We got none of that
Yeah.
because Arya Stark can jump farther than Xena.
Yeah.
Apparently. And it looked bad too. It looked like she jumped off of a springboard.
Well, yeah, it looked like she just came from the sky. It would have even been cool. People were saying that, like, oh, the Hound must have thrown her
Oh my God.
from the wall or something. Something like that would have been
Yeah.
cool to see him be like, and just chuck her over.
No,
but
the heroes lose the Battle of Winterfell. They retreat to Pike in the Iron Islands because the dead can't go in the water.
Yeah.
And then you have the Iron Isles and Pike with the whole, that what is dead may never die
yeah.
type of thing. Because, like, that was a whole thing
Mm-hmm.
where they say that, like, the people of the Iron Isles, they're also dead because they do that drowning thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the whole thing. Or maybe you summon a Kraken or something,
Right.
and
Just something more than what we got.
anything but what we got, But if you've got a frickin' we got dragons, if you somehow do a thing and bring up a Kraken or something, or
Right.
maybe an undead Kraken, I don't know. So
I also saw a lot of people were saying that when Missandei got executed in last night's episode, or what's today? Wednesday?
Yes, Sunday's episode.
Sunday's
Today's
episode.
Tuesday. That's okay. I do that all the time.
I'm like,
Don't worry about it.
what's the day of the week? So I saw some people were saying that when Cersei was like, if you have any last words, now's the time to say it. People were hoping that Arya was gonna take her face off and
Oh yeah.
just assassinate Cersei right there, but I'm kind of glad that didn't happen, honestly.
Well, you know what, and that's the end of the episode, and this is where we're gonna end because we have to segue to these other things before we run out of time.
Okay.
But why didn't Cersei just kill everyone right then and there? I would have been fine with that. I would have been like, all right, femme power, go girl, go.
I mean,
because she could have.
Well, she would have just killed Daenerys, though. She wouldn't. She would still have Jon Snow and everyone else.
Right.
I mean, but she
Well,
definitely,
that's true.
she definitely could have just eliminated
Everyone
right then
there.
and there. Yeah.
Grey Worm, Daenerys, Tyrion. Tyrion could have like opened his mouth and said, started to talk, and then she just fires an arrow, she just
Well, so
and then kills everyone else in the process. And then you have maybe Drogon. He doesn't have a Targaryen now, and he turns to Aegon. Jon.
before we leave this topic, one thing I will say is I think Tyrion is planning to betray Daenerys, and I
Yeah.
think he realizes what he has to do, and he's kind of already making little moves here and there. I think him saying the thing about the unborn baby was kind of his way of stirring up some drama.
Could be.
I
mean, I don't even care at this point.
Whatever happens, just happens.
Honestly, if Cersei had killed Daenerys and Tyrion and Grey Worm right then and there, I would have been like, okay, now this feels like Game of Thrones
Right.
again. She was like,
I was
she should
fully
have.
expecting her to just kill Tyrion at least Tyrion right then and there. There's no reason to not do that.
It's because the writing is a hack and it's awful.
Because they're just writing for the fans at this point.
Any final thoughts on this
I'm still
train wreck?
I'm still hope. I have hope. I have hope that they'll wrap it up.
The sinking of the
nicely.
Titanic.
I think that they left people alive for the Night Walker battle to be killed off before the end of the show. Hopefully, anyway.
It just makes me so sad
I know.
that this is not Game of Thrones.
Well, and I guess the
This is
battle
shitty
tomorrow,
TV
or
writing.
the battle next week, is supposed to be even bigger than the Night King battle, which is so ass backwards. It's not even
Yes!
funny. Like, that's not the battle that we wanted to be, the better one.
And I think that's everyone's sentiment.
Yeah. We'll see.
So.
See what happens.
All right, so we're going to wrap up with we have an article to cover, and then we're also going to cover Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yeah.
Because we do this every other week, so I might as well squeeze it in here. So you're okay with the one spoiler?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. So
Okay.
we were.
It's not Black Widow. I mean, she
Okay.
might die in the movie, but I don't know.
I
Yeah.
haven't. I've only
we
spoiled
haven't seen
one
Endgame
thing
yet.
for myself. Can I say it?
Yeah. go ahead.
Okay, so I know that Stark kills Thanos. I know that because I was going through Game of Thrones hashtags on Twitter, and I was looking up like Arya Stark and stuff like that. and I kept seeing like Stark,
Yeah,
Stark,
the
Stark, Stark,
Stark.
and
Okay.
then it just popped up, and I was like, oh my god, and I was like, whatever, I'm not like so into Marvel stuff that.
Well, that makes sense because that's what the spoiler is in this, actually.
Okay, so it's not anything
But
that I
the-
don't already know.
Well, I mean, okay, again, more spoilers. It's some kind of a suicide charge because he takes Thanos out in the process of him also getting himself killed.
Oh, poor Tony. Well, so
But
I'll
I didn't.
what I saw about all I saw was Black Widow sacrifice, and I was like, nope. Then I stopped reading it.
Yeah,
because I was like,
that's like one of your favorite characters, right?
I love Black Widow, yeah,
Mine's
and I just love
mine's Captain
Scarlet.
Marvel.
So
But yeah, Scarlett Johansson's amazing. Go watch the episode of her in Hot Ones. She is like the most awesome human being.
Really?
And she reminds me of you. You
people
kinda-
say
yeah.
people say that to me
You
all
kinda
the
look like
time.
ScarJo.
I get Scarlet and I get Drew Barrymore, and I'm always just like,
yeah,
oh my god,
you are
stop
kind of
it.
like a weird cross between the two. Well, not weird, but like an
I'm
interesting
like a-
cross
yeah.
between the two women. Okay, so yeah, so now that we've talked about spoilers, I actually didn't know that. Now I'm really disappointed that, like, I know I said go ahead, but I wasn't expecting you to say that. Now I'm disappointed. But anyway, Spider-Man: Far From Home official trailer.
The Spider-Man Far
Yeah,
From
here we
Home
go.
trailer is about to play, but if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame yet, stop watching because there's some
This actor
serious
is
spoilers
awesome.
about to come up.
Oh, I
But
like
if
that
you
they
have
did
seen
that.
Avengers
At
Endgame,
least.
Yeah, yep.
enjoy the trailer.
Okay, again, more spoilers.
Everywhere I go, I see his face.
Yep. So, and we have to kind of continually talk over this so we
Yeah.
don't get
Yeah, I miss him too.
blamed for copyright.
I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be here after he was gone.
Yeah, so some kind of heroic sacrifice.
Right.
But
And obviously, we know that he died in the Infinite
You
War,
gonna be
so
the
we
next
know he
Iron
comes
Man
back.
yeah.
Well, no, I don't have time. I'm too busy doing your job.
Well,
I'm
you
kidding,
find
I'm
out
kidding. Look, keep
why.
up the
So
good
there's like
work,
some,
because I
to
am
quote
going
Doctor Who,
on
timey
vacation.
wimey, wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff going on here, right? So, and you're gonna find out why in a second.
Nick Fury's calling you.
So, and
I
that
don't
is
wanna talk to
that's
Nick
the
Fury.
suit that Iron Man
Because if
made
you don't
for
talk to him now, I
Spider-Man.
can talk to him. I don't want to talk to him. You sent Nick Fury to voicemail?
I gotta go.
You do not ghost Nick Fury.
What up, dorks? What's up? We're
Right,
just
and then they
talking
go in
about
back
the
with a
trip.
little love story. that
I'm
they,
here and
I love
Marco
Zendaya.
Polo. Oh,
I think MJ really likes me.
that reminds me when I first fell in love.
Oh, is that Zendaya?
Yeah.
You're a
Really? Yeah.
very difficult person to contact.
She's
Spider-Man.
awesome.
Yeah, she was. I
used
know
to watch
she
her
was
on
in. She was in the
Nickelodeon.
first one too.
No,
right?
Disney
This is
Junior.
Mr. Beck.
No, not Disney. Disney regular. She had a show on the Disney Channel.
Yeah, she did.
Not ours. The snap to our hole in our dimension.
You're saying there's a multiverse?
We have a job to do, and you're coming with us.
There's gotta be someone else you can use.
I think
What about Thor?
Off-world.
I think you were looking at me.
Captain Marvel. Unavailable. But I'm just a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
And then there's an
Bitch,
alternate
please,
outfit
you've
there
been to
with the.
space.
I don't know if that's an alternate universe Spider-Man, but
Yeah, it looked like a nega
Mysterio.
Spider-Man.
The girl who I really like and tell her how I feel.
MJ,
it
am
kind of reminded me of
No,
Venom just because
of
of the
course
black. But
not.
then if you look closer, it's
I
just
mean,
like an
it's
alternate Spider-Man outfit.
kind of
so
obvious.
I'm wondering if that's an AU Spider-Man.
You're right. You
Yeah.
may not be ready, but this is my responsibility.
There he is, Jake
I
Gyllenhaal.
was,
World
oh
requires
my
sacrifice.
god,
As
I love
Mysterio.
him.
Sometimes people die.
How
I'm-
amazing!
I'm so excited. I love Jake
Putting
Gyllenhaal.
my
Me
friends in
too.
danger.
And he's
The world
hot.
needs the next
He's-
Iron Man.
He's so dreamy.
Are you going to step up or not?
Yeah. So Nick Fury's back. Spider-Man's back.
Oh, okay,
Um, What's her name from? And then the music. They get the original music in there.
I gotta get you guys out of here. Get on the jet.
And then Robin from
I work with Spider-Man.
How I Met Your Mother.
I work with Spider-Man, not for
Who
Spider-Man.
does the She's one of the agents of Shield. Yeah, Robin,
who is that?
the actress. I totally forgot.
Oh god.
So what do you think?
I love Agents of Shield, by the way, but that looks good.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Freaking Jake Gyllenhaal
I know. I love Jake Gyllenhaal.
as Mysterio.
I think the new. So remember they did the Spider-Man with friggin' Emma Stone. Those ones.
Yes.
Those ones were like okay.
Yeah.
They were all right. They weren't like terrible, but they weren't.
Who was the Spider-Man for that one? I can't remember.
Oh
If
God.
you can't remember it.
I don't
If you
remember
can't
his
remember
name.
either. it's
Andrew
fine,
something, I think.
Because I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
Yeah. But this Spider-Man is awesome.
Yeah, I feel like he has the best portrayal of any Spider-Man.
He's just like he's got the right personality for it.
Yeah.
A lot of people say he's too young, and that
I
he's more of a
disagree.
Peter Parker. but I think he's a good Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he's got a good mix of both. Yeah, I'm excited just to see Jake Gyllenhaal and Mysterio and the alternate universe stuff, the multiverse stuff. They got like an alternate universe Spider-Man. You know, I don't know how they're gonna make it all work together.
Yeah,
but Jake Gyllenhaal's
it's exciting.
in it.
Has he ever played like a superhero before?
I don't think so.
I think
unless you
this is his
count
first...
Donnie Darko.
No, I wouldn't count that one.
I think Donnie Darko is a hero. But yeah, so now he's an actual superhero.
Yeah.
Because Mysterio's kind of always traditionally been a villain, I think, unless I'm missing some of the comics. But I didn't get too hardcore into the comics.
Who's Mysterio again?
He's one of the. Hold on, I'll pull it up over here. I'll give you a little background on Mysterio. I just know the basics. Mysterio, here he is. Okay, Mysterio is the name of loading Wikipedia. Is the name of several fictional supervillains appearing in the Marvel enemies of Spider-Man. So that's him. He got the
Okay.
the bubble helmet.
So
Alter
is he a
ego,
good guy
Quentin
or a
Beck.
bad guy?
I believe he's always traditionally been a bad guy.
Well, it looked like he was having like a heart-to-heart conversation.
Yeah,
with
and I think that's the
Spider-Man at
whole.
one point.
Again, I never got too far into the comics, but I recognize him. I know him as an iconic
Well,
character.
maybe in this
I remember
multiverse.
seeing different. I remember seeing him in different mediums throughout my life. But
Yeah.
if you want like hardcore details on Mysterio, I have no idea. I just know that he exists and that he's a cool character.
Well, maybe in this
And
like
he's often the
multiverse.
Maybe
plot,
he's one of the good guys.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a good Mysterio from a different universe or a different, timeline.
So there's an article here that we're going to go over, but I'm just going to I'm going to post it on the ESP Twitter page.
Okay.
And it's about the Riot Games walkout that happened yesterday. So this is an LA Times article. We're going to share this one. The headline is just more than 200 workers at Riot Games walked out of the video games developers headquarters in LA to protest the company's handling of 2 sexual discrimination lawsuits. And what I do know is that these lawsuits were forced into arbitration rather than court.
Yeah.
So these allegations of sexual assault are not going to be heard in front of a judge. As of right now, they're going to be heard in arbitration. And in arbitration, you get a lot less. If you do win the case, you get significantly less, more often than not, and you can be bullied through the process by just the opposing side's lawyers.
Yeah.
And
Which
it's
is
really
not cool,
just not fair.
and especially in a sexual discrimination case or a sexual abuse case.
Yep. I think most of it revolves around. I think it all revolves around the discrimination. There's a lot. There's a Kotaku article. We're going to link that as well. But it's kind of like there's the movement, with I think a lot of the workers where walk out to stand in solidarity. And there's a lot of messages in here. And the messages, I mean, the first one is obviously stand together, stand strong.
Right. It's so great that
the arbitration is the biggest one though.
Yeah. But it's so great that, I mean, in reality, this is only about 2 people that, I mean, not in like as a.
And it's becoming so much more.
But yeah, that these, 198 other workers felt like, no, if it's happening to 2 people, then it can happen to anybody, and we need to stand together.
Yeah, actually, it says more than 200 workers. So here's the thing: is I've been seeing a lot of videos that say, that have been saying, it's here we go again, and people criticizing the Me Too movement, but it's 2 employees, and it's about sexual discrimination specifically. Just 2 employees. It's not the whole company. It's not people jumping on a bandwagon. It's 2 employees who filed a case of sexual discrimination who are being forced into arbitration, which is not ideal for anyone.
Right.
Nobody should be forced into arbitration. Everyone should be able to have, to actually stand before a judge and present their case.
Right.
They're not being able to do this at this point. But when the rest
it's a mandatory arbitration, right?
Yes,
Which means
forced arbitration.
Yeah.
But when the rest of the company stands with you in this, it's not making a statement. If everyone else, or if these 200 people, which is not everyone in the company, but if 200 other people are like, this whole situation is not okay.
Right.
We need to go, and stand together and stand strong, like I said before, then I'm like, okay, and obviously, like, we have to see what happens in court, and people need to present their evidence on both sides. But that's just saying something.
Right.
You know, the fact that 200 other people
Well, this is how things like
put
this get
themselves
heard.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is it's a bigger deal than what people, are making it out to be, because if they hadn't have done that, then this probably would have just gotten swept under the rug, and those two
Exactly.
employees
Well,
wouldn't
that's
have,
what people were. People have used that exact phrase.
right. Sweep under the rug.
Yeah, is that like that's what I guess that's what the company is known for.
Yeah. Sad.
But
Well, I was just
Yeah.
gonna say it's nice that they're standing together. So
absolutely. We'll post more on that, kind of ending on a serious note. But we'll post more about that on the ESP Twitter. So keep an eye out for the Kotaku article, and also for the LA Times article that we were just reading from. But let's end on a good note. The PlayStation State of Play, Episode 2, comes out in... Right now, it's May 7th. By the time this releases, it will be like 2 weeks from now. But May 9th is when the next PlayStation State of Play comes out.
Oh.
So you and I can talk about that.
Cool.
And we're going to just keep chugging along with... you've been playing Mortal Kombat 11, right?
I have. Yep.
Nice. Who's your favorite? Who's your main?
Well, I played with Jade when they did the the pre-release, because they only had like a couple, like 4 characters or something.
Jade
like
was
that.
one of the characters I used to play in the arcade, but
Yeah.
Sonya was my first choice.
But yeah, no,
Outside
I
of
just
the North Dartmouth Mall.
I can with her little thing that she's got there. What's the word I'm looking for? She's got like a little stick thing.
Oh, a
Her little,
stave?
her little staff. Yeah, I don't know.
But
She's got like a.
I made a bow staff. Sick bow staff.
But no, it gives her a little bit of reach, So.
Yep. Katana's cool too.
Yeah, like katana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as soon as I finish with Resident Evil 2, I'm going to be trading that in and actually getting Mortal Kombat 11. But I'm really excited for, the new costumes and the new outfits and the new story. So,
Yeah.
you and I will talk more about that after.
Cool.
I think that's it for the only thing that's coming out between now and September that's major, as far as I know off the top of my head, is Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers, which is it's going to be huge because so many people are flocking to MMOs to get away from the live service model right now.
Yeah.
And WoW is dying, so I think a lot of people are going to be sucked into Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah, to be honest, I've never played. I've watched people play,
Yeah.
Final
It's fun.
Fantasy,
It's fun.
but
we'll talk more about that after too.
yeah, that's a game that I've always wanted to, a series that I've always wanted to start from the beginning, or start maybe not from the very beginning because it goes back.
There's like way too many.
It goes
and,
back,
Well,
I know.
well, none of them connect, so you can kind of just play whatever one you want.
Yeah,
Whatever one that like sort of appeals to you.
Yeah.
You can kind of cherry pick.
I like that you can just
Yeah.
kind of like pick it up.
Standalone. Although they've been doing some crossovers with 14.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then you and I will go see Avengers Endgame, and then the next time we're on the show, we will actually have a proper discussion
Yes.
about Endgame, because apparently the verdict is out on that. Apparently it was pretty great.
Yeah,
Better
I've
than
been
Game of
hearing-
Thrones
I've been
season
hearing
8.
good reviews from
Yes.
what I've seen. So
And I did like Captain Marvel. The movie itself. Okay, so the movie itself wasn't like fantastic, but I enjoyed it.
yeah,
And I didn't think it had a strong message. So
I didn't see it yet.
a good,
but,
strong, positive message.
I hear Brie Larson is getting criticized. Did you see that whole thing?
Yeah, Brie Larson's my queen. I don't care what anyone says.
I love her.
Yeah.
From United States of Terror.
I haven't seen that. But
Oh
I'll
my
check it
God,
out.
you need to see that show. It's amazing.
Right, but we are over time, so
oh,
we're gonna
okay.
have to
Wrap it
before
up.
we get
Wrap it
before
up.
we get yelled at by our producers. So, any final thoughts before we?
Game of Thrones needs to
So
step it
bad.
up.
Too late. They're already done.
Game of Thrones needs to step it up.
Rip,
Yeah,
Ripperoni. R.I.P. Game of Thrones.
yeah.
So, anyway.
But excited for the summer. Excited for new things. So
Yes. Bathing suits and Final Fantasy 14.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to rotate my days. All right. Go to the pool this day.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the beach either. I'm like, hey, who's got a swimming pool?
I have to be in the mood. you know.
Yeah.
It's gotta
same.
be the right day.
All right. All right. Episode 4. Thank you so much, everyone, for your continued support, and thank you, Brooke,
Thank you for having me.
coming back. And we will see you. Probably schedule some for a couple months.
Yeah.
So awesome. All right. Thanks,
Awesome.
everyone. Have a wonderful evening. We love you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye.